Okay, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're all here listening. I have my good friend Ruth Duran here with us today. Ruth Duran is a life coach. She specializes in helping immigrant women with their business, working harder and not, or no, working smarter, not harder. That's probably my paraphrase. I'm definitely going to open it up to Ruth to expand on that and share her words on that. So welcome, Ruth.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Uh,
Yes, I'm an immig life coach and I help immigrant. I'm also an immigrant. I help immigrant business women stop overworking, stop cre creating a lot of hustle and working so hard to create their dreams. I help them create the ease that they want and the dreams that they want.
Ooh, that sounds fabulous. You know me, dream doula over here. So I'm so glad to bring you here to bring open possibilities to more people. If you're new to this podcast, Love Notes from the Trippy Hippie, I'll just share a little bit about it. It's a limited series for now, anyways. I'm letting the dream grow. And let it take its own path as where it will. But for those of you that are new to this, the idea of Love Notes from the Trippy Hippie is kind of spawned from a sticker I saw, a post-it note in the bathroom on a trip one time. And it said, "What if your fondest dream is small compared to what the universe has in store for you?" Kind of seems poignant for an immigrant business coach
Yeah.
helping immigrants live their dreams.
Yeah.
So,
Because when they're overworking, when they're struggling, when they're stuck, they're limiting their dreams because they think that how they've experienced their life until now is it will look like when they're creating their dreams. So they really limit themselves, they cut themselves short, they go with so much pain with unanswered dreams. But what I help them do is clean it up and clear what is I'd like to think of it like clear their capacity, what they're
mhm.
doing right now that makes it so hard and exhausting, so that they can open up their potential to create what they want, so they can see a different way.
I love what you said right there so much. And for those of you listening, we're gonna get into the meet cute story of how I know Ruth. Love Notes from the True Trippy Hippie is about being a butterfly on the wall, listening to conversations with people that I feel are magical parts of my life. So if you're listening, Ruth is magical. You are here to, for a reason. I believe you are meant to see Ruth's magic and see how it fits into your life somewhere. But the capacity part that you mentioned, before I mention our little meet cute story, I wanted to talk about capacity for a second because this morning, I'm writing a book, as you know, and I've been pondering what is life coaching really as I've been working on my marketing. And we're going to talk about our journey together, but we started together 5 years ago. And I always thought, life coaching is about like, learn this skill, be more confident, all of this stuff. And I was telling myself this morning, like, I should be practicing certain exercises for my writing. But as I'm writing and I let the wisdom come up through me, what came through me is like, it's already all there. You don't need to be practicing more metaphors. You don't need to be doing all this stuff. What you need to be doing is like, I noticed that I want to make the voice in me small. Like, don't be too sassy. Don't be too salty. Don't be too complainy. Don't be too sad, And I'm like, wait a second. I know the writing's there. It knocks on me, it whispers in me, all the metaphors, all the salt, all the fun, all the expression, it's there. And I thought, what if my practice is not getting something, not getting more confident, not getting more skilled, but what it is learning to increase the capacity of the vessel that is me and let life flow through it. Like it's there already. I just need to feel comfortable with that expression coming through and get it out of the way. And anyway, so I don't know. You really hit on capacity, but this is how it goes when you and I have our Sunday mornings, right? So I'm hoping I get to demonstrate a little bit about how you've really helped a lot of my dreams come true in the last 5 years too.
And
Yeah.
what I was gonna add is, what if it doesn't have to be either or? What if both? It's an and. Expanding your capacity, letting it all flow through you, and enhancing the skill to even let that amazing, juicy, sweet magic you already have coming through be
Hmm.
even more effective and efficient. Because when we think it has to be either or, we limit ourselves. But what if it's an and both are amazing? And that even that um, part of you that went to get the skills
Hmm.
is right. So
Hmm.
both it are amazing and part of your creation.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with you. And I think one of the skills to learn is the discernment. Okay, what do I need in this moment? Do I need more skill or more capacity? And it is both. And sometimes in that moment, it's both. And sometimes, like, I'll be the first to admit that I can be the do. And it's like, stop, girl. You need to like let the capacity shine through. Like, you've been doing enough. Like, you've got the skill. So, um, that reminds me of how hard it is to chase. But I want to talk about our little meet cute story really quick. So so I met Ruth 5 years ago. We both started our training at the life coach school, and we were in the same class. So we would regularly practice our homework with one another. And then we graduated and we just started like, okay, let's weekly still like practice. And it hasn't stopped. I mean, the only time we're not doing it is if one of us is sick or on vacation or something. I mean, we are pretty faithful about our meet times, and I can I can say it's been really magical. Ruth and I have both, even since that initial training, both gone on to do additional trainings like master coach and business masterminds. Each of us have had different trainings that way, trainings in shadow work. And it's been exciting to witness your journey and be a part of it, and also take the journey along with you in a separate and similar capacity, like both, right? So, um, with that meet cute story, I want to start off by sharing well, that's how we met, but the like I want to get into the meat of like something Ruth has really done in business. So I started off as a money mindset coach. And Ruth did a lot of coaching when in our curriculum, we did money coaching for each other to start with. But then after we graduated, it'd been a year since graduation, and we were just, following up with each other, talking about our coaching. And I was like, yay, I did it, Ruth. I helped this person get a raise. I'd been with them for a year and I helped them, increase their capacity to ask for more money at work and really step into that fuller version of themselves. And I was like, done. And do you remember this moment? I don't know if you remember. Okay, this was kind of fun. So I know we each remember different things, right? So, um, and Ruth was shaking her head no for those listening. That's okay. I forget too, where I get immersed in, right here. But anyway, so Ruth, you said to me something like, "We'll give them more," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I just gave them what they asked for. Like, I don't even know what that looks like." And so you started asking me questions about every area of my life, about my business, and I was like 8, 9, or 10. I was like feeling really good. I'm not even sure how to increase the capacity for my own life. I feel like on top of the world. How am I going to do that for someone else who just got what they want, right? So, one of the things you showed me in that moment was two things. One is that your life can still be a 9 or 10 and there can still be more, right? So that was kind of cool. Like, really? And that's where I felt like I really started to move from that place of being deeply satisfied and eager for more. Instead of working from a place that I'm so in lack and I have to fix something, I'm like, no, this like I'm so deeply satisfied. Let me expand more into that and make fill my life up more with that. And then the big part was as you were asking me about my love life. Now, at the time, I was very happily single, right? Nothing to do or fix. It's awesome. It's great. And I was just randomly talking and I said, besides, it's not possible for someone to love me. And I didn't hear myself say that. I didn't hear it. And you said, did you hear yourself? And I'm like, no, what? And you said, you just said it's not possible for somebody to love you. And you said it like it was a fact, like it's weather and it's 67 degrees outside. And I was like, what? I really said that? And um, you said, those are your thoughts about other people.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I was like, I really took a long pause for that because for me, while it was true that I was happily single, it sort of shifted something in me in the sense that I was almost single not by choice, because my beliefs were actually forcing me to be single, and I was teaching myself to tolerate my belief, actually.
Yes. And that happens so much. It's we just like we think it is the weather outside, we think it's a fact because from a ton of love and compassion, we have all the evidence to support that thought and belief.
Mhm.
And then when we look at it or question or poke holes in it, we realize that that decision from that belief we can change it. We can change that belief and then we can change how we want to live. Because, yes, it's true up to that point, but it doesn't have to be true in the future. And the part that also is so amazing is not to find somebody to love you,
Mhm.
which is what you have been open to do, is being find where you can love you
Mhm.
and somebody else joining you in that loving experience is just fun if you want it.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I'm going to offer up a full circle moment that I've had because we've been coaching on this for 5 years. And then I would love for you to share anything and everything about your business and maybe some full circle moments you've had with helping immigrants. And by the way, Ruth is a business coach and she just coached me on my love life. I don't know if you all just heard all You know what I mean? So, and interesting because I started as a money mindset coach, and interestingly enough, found that a lot of money issues show up in our relationship. And then I ended up through this process working as a dating coach for a while. Still do. That's not my main topic anymore. Business has evolved, which I think we'll talk a little bit about our businesses evolving over time. But my full circle moment is the one I told you about last weekend. So I've been working on this thought belief system of mine for 5 years now, with you, with other coaches, with myself in my own coaching. And I love that, first of all, I love that everything is the same and everything's different in 5 years. And also I love that it takes what it takes. But the full circle moment is that remember I kind of shared with you last weekend is that I was getting on the dating apps and my body just didn't seem to want to let me. But it wasn't because I thought there was ick. I was like, I sat with it. I don't understand it. Like, I'm not disappointed. I'm not frustrated. I'm not, feeling ick about it. I don't really feel anything, but I can't like make myself check my dating app. Like, why am I not interested? And I had this full circle moment as in like I was thinking about friends that, haven't been on dating apps, and it's because they don't have the thought that somebody doesn't love me. They have to seek love. And I'm like, whoa, like, what is that about? Like, feeling so loved, you don't actually ever have to seek it. It's just like always there. And I realized like that's where I was. I didn't feel separate from love. And because I didn't have or either or I'd come to a congruency within myself that, hey, I noticed that seeking love comes from a lack of love. And I refuse to do that because one of the things I feel like is that where we take action from, I know you use the coaching model and we can talk about that some or leave it to others to come and seek it from us. But there's the emotion in that drives the thought or thoughts driving the emotion, right? Well, somehow they were in alignment that I didn't have um it just I couldn't take action from lack because I knew that action from lack was going to create more lack. like the chasing was just pushing it away. So we'll see how that shows up in my dating life. And I've also noticed that the last few dates that I've broken off, or not because I feel like I'm unlovable and I won't find somebody and I have to tolerate this. It's just that from a whole place, it's been like a full empowering choice of like, no, I fully choose to be single. It's not because somebody else is not, I don't believe someone else is going to love me. It's because I believe it's so hard. I'm willing to wait for it. I don't have to tolerate this or think that I have to choose to be single because nobody can love me. I'm choosing to be single because I haven't found, I don't want to settle. I want to, have that. So that was a full circle moment for me where I'm still single, but it feels out of choice, not because I believe somebody doesn't love me, but would love for you to share any more full circle moments or even more about your business too.
So some of the full circle moments that I've, because we've coached on relationships and you've coached me on relationships, you've coached me on money, you've coached me on my relationship with time. I remember the biggest shift I ever had with time is I didn't realize I had a relationship with time until one time we were having a conversation and you said, I want to respect your time. And I didn't even think that that was an option. Like, how do we respect an inanimate, like something that just is? And it blew my mind. And so now I see how it's all the relationship with different components of our life. And so just even when I'm spending time just working in my business, I'm spending time with my clients, I'm always just respectful of, for example, them, but also respectful of time and
Mhm.
just that amazing experience. And then just money and relationships and just people. It's just a different, that shift just really created a different experience. Because remember, our relationships are our thoughts and feelings about something. So if my thought about time was it doesn't matter,
Mm,
versus time matters and I'm choosing to respect it, I
mhm,
just create a very different experience of all of it.
mm.
And of course, with money, you've coached me on money and different components. And every time you coach me on money, it just like breaks my brain just a little bit because you don't know what you don't know. And but one of the biggest ones that's coming to mind right now that I'm feeling like I need to share is you're single and choosing to date and just content and happy being single. I'm in a relationship, but you still have been able to coach me on it. My decision has been to stay in my relationship, but then my decision has also been to have different relationships with the same person.
Ooh, powerful. Oh,
The the part is every time I encounter issue and you coach me on it, I always come back to like, so how do I make it different?
mm,
Think in 5 years so we've been married 27 years. So in 5 years, we've had probably had a third or maybe even fourth version of this relationship
mm.
that just keeps evolving because as I grow, as I evolve, as my relationship with me evolves, the relationship also evolves. So it's not just about dating, it's about relationships, period.
It is.
And your relationship, so relationship with a person impacts your relationship with other people, your relationship with yourself impacts everything,
Mhm.
just anything you choose to do. So that's my full circle moment.
Yeah,
um
that's powerful. It's really powerful. And that's actually one of the most, there are three criteria in dating, and one of them being that they're willing to grow. Because as you can see, you're able to have that deeper, richer a relationship that evolves. Your partner can evolve with you and with life. Yeah,
mhm.
that's
Yeah.
very cool.
And the part about it is that you've also helped me be able to see is that when I'm just really content and willing to go, I deserve so much more.
Mhm.
I'm willing to do that, and the person I'm with chooses to up level, chooses to join me on the journey, chooses to join me on the adventure. which is very different than if we're coming from, I can't have anything I want and I have to just settle. And
Mm-hmm.
so that brings me to my business because so many women, not just immigrants, so many women, we have been raised to just settle. We've been raised with thoughts that we picked up or culture, not just from our parents, because family of origin is big, but also culturally. There's so many things that we're taught that we just pick up and we just think it's law. Because it's true, some of it. Some of it is, yes, this has been my experience. This has been my parents' experience. This has been all the women in my culture's experience. I can look at all my aunties, look at everybody, and this has been the experience. So we unconsciously just think that this is going to be the future. And
Mm-hmm.
when we question that, we're able to choose a different approach. And the reason I evolved, because I'm I'm an MBA. I went back to school when my children were a little bit older, and I got a bachelor's in accounting, a bachelor's BBA with concentration in accounting. Went further on for to get my master's in a concentration in accounting. So when I went through life coach school with you, I thought, of course, business was what I wanted to coach on. And I'm good at it. I'm an MBA. I'm good at business. I can coach everybody on their business. But as we were coaching, as we were working, as I was working with my clients, I started realizing it's not just what they're doing in business that's impacting what they're experiencing. It's not just the strategy of, for example, this is the marketing strategy we're going to do to create the result. It's actually the relationship that they're experiencing with that strategy. It's also their relationship with themselves. It's their patterns. So, for example, if I was raised in a culture where women have to play small, women are second class, or women they're not allowed to shine because then they'll experience a lot of criticism, and it just is really emotionally exhausting, and telling them, oh, shine, just show up powerfully, just do this, do that. We're missing a very important piece. It creates lack of safety in them because they're going against culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we know, we'll be curious, why are this class of this group of women not creating the business that they want or the success that they want? And so what I help them do is I help them create a very harmonious relationship where they choose how they want to show up in marketing in a safe way, where it's not going against them, their
Mm-hmm.
culture, their
Mm-hmm.
family of origin, but also supporting the people that they want to support. So it's just creates a beautiful relationship because it's who they are, their authentic self. And so I help them find, and that's the reason I'm the life coach for immigrant businesswomen. I help them find how all these strategies and concepts that we learn can be molded for them
Mm-hmm.
unique way.
So what's
So
coming up for me? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say what's coming up for me is the idea, and I'm summarizing everything you just said, but and I just want to see if I'm succinctly feeling it, but it's the idea that, this is the way society operates. Unwritten rules or whatever, culture, expectations for women, all of that. And we want to be bigger. And there's how do we do that? Because it feels unsafe to go against that. And we can't rely on that to be our safety. So we have to then create the safety in us and the trust in us in order to do that. Where I think that most of the time we look outward. This program's going to give it to us. This um, certificate, is going to give it to us. We're going to get that permission to be bigger in this culture, right? Um, but it does require inner work as well to support that move because you're expanding in places where you're used to playing small.
Yes. And some of it is, so I can go on and on, but for example, somebody who has been um, punished
Hmm.
for being vocal.
Hmm.
And then they follow all these coaches or marketing gurus or people who say, be vocal.
Mm.
We have to clean that up. We have to create that safety in them. Or,
How do you be the thing you can't?
yeah.
That is a double bind right there.
And so I can go on and on because there's so many things that really, so for example, in that client who's feeling so unsafe and trying to force themselves to do a lot of things that don't feel safe, and the emotional and mental turmoil that's happening, I help them clean that up because
Hmm.
they can do the same thing in a very safe and true and honest way to them.
Hmm.
And so we we clean that whole place up, that will create that, yes, you're doing the action. So if you from the life coach school and you follow the model, the A line is not where we focus a lot of our time, energy, and effort. I focus on the T, the thoughts, and
Hmm.
feeling line of creating what you want to create. Because I can have a conversation with somebody because I'm thinking that if I have to have this conversation because I need to prove that I'm good enough and I'm feeling insufficient, I'll have the same conversation versus I'm good enough. I believe in me. I feel whole and good. And then I have the exact same
Well,
conversation.
then the action feels easily, right? Easy because yeah, the action feels easy. So that's so fascinating. It is so one of the reasons I find it so fascinating too is because even before I was, a certified coach too, I'd go to other coaches and they have us working on the action line, and it just seemed to like not work. And it's because I couldn't get my thoughts and my feelings aligned with that. Good to know. And you learn so much about yourself too. And there are different, and I think it's important to note, and anyone who's listening, maybe you're having an aha moment that's like, oh, that's why those actions just couldn't stick. I need to work on some thoughts and feelings. Um, and other people, it is going to be about the actions. Like they will, and again, come back to like, um, everybody has different needs. So you're going to have different coaches that you resonate with. I know we were talking about that a little bit, as in like we've been talking about marketing and growing our business and how, maybe somebody who was a fit for us 5 years ago is finding that they're a fit for us now. Again, the evolution of that person and their experiences, the evolution of you and your coaching. But there are some people who are very action oriented and the thoughts, feelings, may not resonate, and that's okay too. I think it's important to recognize it about yourself, but I hope if you're listening and you feel like it hasn't been working, maybe you just heard a little something different that says, "Hey, there's another way." Yeah.
I want to give, I want to use your example because there is space for the actions. There
Mhm.
is space for the skill set. There is space for the what to do, when to do it, how to do it. There is space for that. And in my coaching, I also will clarify which feels really good for my clients.
Mhm.
But for example, in your example of when you thought nobody can love me
Mhm.
and then resigned, even if you had a coach, or even if somebody had said, well, go on a dating app, even from the feeling of resign, you go on a dating app, you reach people, you date, you even do the dating where you date three people at a time. You can do that. It just will create more proof and evidence of how people don't love you, how you're
Mhm.
not lovable,
Yep.
how there's this additional exhausting experience through that versus the thought, I am lovable because I love me. I am lovable and I'm I want to do this. Just
Yeah.
that choice. The
Yeah.
same actions can happen.
Yes.
It's just how you will experience those actions. But it's and that this also comes to the overworking piece. You will be probably trying to, in the action prior model, the prior actions where you're not feeling lovable, maybe even trying to convince the people you're dating or manipulate or covertly trying to get those people to prove that you're lovable or trying to like be needy of them to show you that you're lovable versus in the second piece where you're already lovable, you release them from that obligation or you release them from that need and it just feels different as you're dating. The people you're attracting are different. The way you're interacting with them is different. You're not expecting more from them. You're just expecting them to show up as their higher self if they choose to. And there's not this messy, overworking, overdoing
Mm.
middle. And
Yeah.
so it's the same in business. So if I already believe what I have is valuable, I can help them. There people in the world need this. I release from my marketing to prove that people already need this. I release from my marketing and my clients and my potential clients that attachment of doing something because it's just there's just that cleaner experience of life. It's
Yeah.
like how you show up is very different. And so that's the overworking piece that in the A line we get to clean up. But it also starts by how you're thinking and feeling. If you're feeling whole, content, and just like you have something of value,
Hmm.
the amount of time, energy, and effort you put into something is different.
Right. So good. So good. Because as I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can hear all of that in marketing. Like when we have to prove that we have something of value, we maybe our words hide behind other experts, like I know this person or I have this certificate, like we got to get when really your experience speaks for itself, right? That's your value, you know,
Yeah.
your words, your experience, like it's solid. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, feeling the need to like prove yourself in your marketing. So you'll do more of it. You'll keep trying new things. You'll spin in it. And you relax into it. You relax into your value. You
Mhm.
speak it. It's so cool. So yeah.
And sometimes it can look very deceiving because we might not think that, for example, somebody who is posting 5 days, 3 times a day is trying to prove something.
Hmm.
It can look the same way, or even back to dating, somebody who's at quantum dating might be, it's like, okay, they're doing the same thing. How do I know? It's how it feels. So if
Hmm.
I'm posting 5 days, 3 times a day, and I'm feeling the lack,
Hmm.
even the people who are reading will feel that energy. Or if I'm quantum dating and I'm feeling insecure, people will feel that the experience will be different versus choosing to post 3 times a day, 5 days a week from I have something of value and I just want to share. I just want to somebody I know somebody is going to get the value of what I'm saying today. So I'm going to post. Oh, I didn't think about it this way and I want to just give somebody just a different perspective to see it this way. Or in dating it's like, "Oh, how much fun would this be to meet different people or look how much I'm learning about me as I meet different people.
Yes.
Look at what has been uncovered in me when I'm meeting different people. Oh, I didn't know that that was there, and it would be so much fun to uncover it.
Yeah.
It's just a different energy with both. So the action line is not really the biggest piece. It's just how is it feeling as you're
Yeah.
doing.
Now, how is it feeling? So, it's interesting because I love this conversation because I'm actually gonna share that what dating, business, like you say, and dating has taught me and bring it back to drinking actually. So we're gonna cover all the bases here for anybody listening. It's about life, right? So I was coaching somebody on dating recently about the ick because that's a big thing with dating. It's like if dating starts to feel really heavy, you go on a date and it's got all these thoughts and feelings, and it's like, well, what does that mean? It shouldn't be there. I don't want to deal with it. That's the stuff we got to clean up, right? That's we can get really congruent and clean and get in alignment. So I was sharing with a friend, she was going through the ick, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that. And I actually don't have it in dating anymore. And dating is very easy for me. However, I said, I had decided not to drink, and I didn't realize, and I'm not a big drinker to begin with, actually, but I still didn't realize how much ick could be involved in making that decision because I went out to dinner with a couple of friends. We had sushi, they were sharing some sake, and they were like, have some with us. And I could if I wanted. I don't say that I'm a non-drinker. I just don't drink much, but I just didn't want to. But even though I didn't want to, and again, this is what you're saying about women, immigrants in business and in life, right? I don't want to drink. And yet I had all the ick, and it wasn't from them. It was about me. I kept thinking, well, now I'm a prude. I'm just uncool. Why can't I have fun? I was like, wow, I just started to feel all of that. And I didn't want to think that about myself. So, in order to not think these things about myself, I would just choose to drink. And I don't feel good. And I was saying that to them, I just don't feel good when I drink. It doesn't feel good. And I'm like, why do I even need to explain myself? Like, I don't want to drink, should be end of story. But you do, but again, I say this with drinking because I live in Wisconsin and it's such a drinking culture. And if you are drinking with friends, drinking is its own culture. Like even if you're not part of it, you still got to kind of fight it. So you don't have to fight it. Right? That's what's making it hard.
It's one of, and that's the part that I love how you've put it because it's so beautiful. Because that's the mental clutter
Yeah.
that makes it so heavy.
Yes.
Those rules and those cultural norms that you were going against, and how what you're making it mean about you, and just all that mental clutter. We don't realize how much exhaustion that creates because it's it's just this he you said it so perfectly, because it's that heaviness
Mm.
that we clean up to
Hmm.
create the ease.
Yeah.
And the ease of, because the same action of deciding not to drink,
Hmm.
having your own back, even against you, and
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
version of you that thinks that it needs to look a certain way,
Yeah.
the decision can be, I'm not drinking, I'm choosing not to drink, I have my own back. Somebody else says something, and because you don't use it against you, you have your own back. I'm choosing not to. It's a no. And
Yeah.
what am I going to do? Or I love you, and it's a no, even to you. And so that, right, that you said it so perfect, because I also sometimes have a hard time marketing to my clients about how we get from that heaviness
Hmm.
to the ease.
Man.
And that heaviness is the overworking,
Yeah.
thinking, over analyzing, over mental chatter
Yeah.
that creates the ease. So even in your example, because every single thought about you, even the thought I'm a prude,
Oh, I know. Like,
feels a certain way, and then we're carrying that around because our brain starts gathering all the proof and evidence of how many other times you have done that, how many other times, comparison, judgment, etc., etc.
mhm,
Heaviness
it is.
is when you have just the whole, you have your own back. You are not going to let anybody, including you, be hard on you,
Hmm.
decision, have your own back, and enjoyment of being with people even as they're drinking.
Yeah.
And that can happen. And that's why, again, I'm the life coach for immigrant businesswomen, because life, we clean that up and it impacts our coaching. Because I will coach a client on, for example, drinking. In your example, we'll clean that up. And then at the end, we'll tie it back into business. And so,
Hmm.
for example, making a decision to say something that goes against the grain,
Hmm.
that is not normal in the culture that you're marketing to,
Hmm.
but you have your own back, and then you post it. It feels different. It
Hmm.
has you even grow your capacity to say the uncomfortable thing. It grows your capacity to really challenge cultural norms and myths that people have, and people start thinking about their lives in a different way and seeing the possibility in a different way.
Yeah, to your point, I was gonna say, having worked with the model and getting good at like identifying these kinds of things, I could see it all and I could feel the heaviness of it. And I also have noticed how I lately, excuse me, how I create my not belonging because I made it mean like, oh, they don't think I'm cool. I should just drink to go along, so I belong. And I was projecting all the judgments. I don't know what they really think, actually. Excuse me. I was just making it mean that, oh, I'm not cool. I'm not cultured. I'm not sophisticated. I'm not fun. Like all these things I was making it mean about me. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching myself, how I feel and how I thoughts create my feelings. And I can see I'm creating my not belonging, how often I would drink to feel like I belong. And it's hard, but the thing of it is, I want to just share the reward I think is that you will discover that you belong to you. You'll stop betraying you and you'll say things out loud that go against the grain. So in all full disclosure, all honesty, I can even say I've probably even done that with my coaching, feeling like I have to be a real coach. I'm going to have to be like other coaches and do the things they're doing and say the things they're saying, when in all reality, it is the things that set me apart from other coaches are what actually make me a good coach for very specific people. Same with dating. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I love everything you've said, because the pieces that work together to finally get to that place where you just, for example, belong in the coaching industry because of your uniqueness, belong as the coach who's going to help your people because of your beautiful, I'm going to use siren, that they only hear.
Yeah.
It is just that work. And so life impacts how you show up in your business.
Mhm.
And so I love it because also, as immigrant businesswomen, as immigrants, first of all, we're in a different culture. So the not belonging is very strong. And we believe that there's certain actions we have to do to allow us to think and feel that we belong. And this is another place where overworking happens, because we think we have to earn, we have to do a lot of things to earn that right or that permission to think and feel something. And
Mhm.
so um with immigrant businesswomen is we think will have all these degrees and all the certifications, and then we allow ourselves to think and feel that we're intelligent or smart, or we belong in corporate, or we belong in business, or we belong somewhere. But then what I help them be able to do is actually feel that they belong without all those actions. And the other part that we also help them do is sometimes when we're trying to work so hard to avoid feeling an emotion. So in your case, with the drinking, the discomfort
Mhm.
of people just you doing something against the norm, that discomfort or even maybe that awkwardness, you're trying to avoid it by all those thoughts and stories and that being hard on yourself. And it just causes a lot of that heaviness
Mhm.
versus the ease of you don't have to earn belonging by
Mhm.
similarity because
Mhm.
the similarity help you feel belonging, yes, but it's not permanent. What happens now when you go to another culture where they don't drink?
Mhm.
So, but when you belong to you and you belong to your choice and have your own back, you can feel belonging no matter what the circumstance and the culture and the things, the similarities there are. And then also when you just sit with the discomfort of, okay, this is different, this is awkward, this is uncomfortable, and I'll be okay.
Mhm.
So much more ease, so much more just able to just drop into it and probably even enjoyment of wherever you decide to be or whatever you decide to do.
I can see where being an immigrant adds an extra layer on all those things and how that must be, you must be such a gem to your clients. Understanding um, that aspect alone, but then understanding the culture of being an immigrant or the specific hurdles or obstacles is the word I'm looking for that, you know exactly some of these extra obstacles that they have to overcome.
Yes, and I help them clean that up. And a lot of also I don't only just help first generation immigrants, I also help second generation immigrants because there's that additional layer of their parents. And so when I first decided, because I didn't start off as being an immigrant business, a life coach for immigrant businesswomen. I was just a businesswoman, a business coach. And I started encountering this, there's these different layers and like second generation immigrants, they have their own unique struggles because they're not, for example, they're not Africans because their parents were from Africa. And they're not Americans because their parents are from Africa. And so that, and then so they have their parents' experience, and then they have their own experience because they're now going to school with people who don't understand exactly what they're going through and they come home and they're showing up with a different way. So that complexity, I help them also clean that up. But what the best part about it is for example, with creating ease with you to just be like, I'm going to drink or not, I'm okay no matter where. That also creates that relationship with their parents where they just have that acceptance of themselves, acceptance of their parents, and acceptance of so many other people. And so they really releases an additional layer of struggle, of anger, of exhaustion. And
Yeah, I'm here.
you
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
create such a beautiful, harmonious relationship with themselves in whatever they choose to do with their family of origin, with even their friends, because then when you're, so for example, when you feel I belong, no matter where, you can belong in your family, like your Iranian family, where they're celebrating Iranian New Year and they're enjoying that whole experience. And then you can belong in your corporate where they're celebrating something different, or you can belong with friends when they're celebrating 4th of July. You can belong wherever you choose to belong, and you're not looking for this similarity to be where you belong.
Hmm. All of that feels so peaceful and so harmonious. And like my mind is like, and I do this work too, but my mind is just like blown away, like what? That can be possible for me. I can really feel that. So I can really feel how like that makes life easier and therefore it feels like business will be easier. And like what a blessing to not have to fight for your belonging, or at least to have to feel like you don't have to fight for your belonging. So really good stuff. Um I want to share another full circle moment here because And then I'll ask you those questions that are coming up. But Ruth has, if you're listening, there's going to be two versions of this if you ever want to check out the YouTube version or there's the podcast version. So if you're not on the YouTube version and you can't see this big beautiful money tree behind Ruth, um so one of because this goes full circle because Ruth gave a lot of examples of how we do things and we collect piece proof and evidence. So in the whole 5 years I've been working with Ruth, another one of the things that she's really been working with me is my mindset to care for plants. I cannot tell you how many times, those of you that are listening, how I have cried to Ruth and that I am so horrible with plants. And I bet you see this pattern, but I recently I think I shared with you how I went through a really big sort of dealing with CPTSD and breaking up the whole like taking care of myself. Like that was always a thing I was shamed for. There was severe codependency and abuse in my family that it was always like you can't do it. I mean, because you don't take care of yourself. I mean, that's how you create codependency right there, shame you for being, thriving. So, in order to go with the identity that I was, sort of taught, I would collect proof and evidence. If my plant died, there it is. There's all the proof and evidence that I cannot take care of plants. I cannot nurture. I'm sure I can't nurture a relationship. Like just,
And that you caused them to die.
oh, I
Like
know.
there's
I know.
something wrong with you that caused them to die. It was so painful.
Yes. See, I love the fact that we're using plants as this because you can see how painful this is. And I'm not running a business. You know what I mean? It's like, it's plants. And I
Mhm.
just have that harsh, like it's so hard, I can't do it and all of that. So, those of you that are listening, you didn't catch our pregame chat just a little bit about the plant, but I shared with Ruth how I'm noticing that I need to repot my plants, I think, more often. And she said that's a good thing because clearly they're growing, right? So, I mean, I do see it's a good thing, but I'm like learning those next steps of care and reaching out and I think there's something that makes me feel like, oh, will I kill it in the transferring? You know what I mean? So there's that fear of like I'm going to make it mean I don't know how to take care of things again. But now I'm working on it. I got my back, and you're going to be so proud of me because yesterday I went to the store, the grocery store, and I walked by this prayer plant, and I was like, oh, I'm in love with you, and I'm taking you home. And I have every confidence in taking care of it. And it doesn't mean every one of my plants are going to survive. I'm learning, but I've come a long way. And it may sound simple or trite, but I have always wanted to have a lot of plants around me, and it gives me joy. And it's simple, but it means a lot to me. There's one person I know, a friend here locally, that she's really good with plants. And I keep telling her, I'm like, I feel like you should be a plant coach. Like, I would love to just check in with you once a week and take you around to all my plants and say, what's going on with this one? Why is it brown? Because I typically overwater, that's it. But sometimes, in fear of overwatering, I don't water enough. I found some of them just need to be rotated. I mean, I didn't know that. Like, and it sounds simple, but I just feel like the value of life coaches in general, and you could have like practically any niche, is having loving, kind people to life with. Because I think too many of us were left to our own devices, which is not terrible, but I think as people, we were meant to thrive in togetherness and cooperation and nurturing. And, it's just, there's something to me that's of value when like I can just figure it out all on my own by going to YouTube and typing things, but there's just something so special about like I hear my friends that are good with, and you actually too, that are good with plants, and they say, well, my grandmother was really good with plants and she taught me. It's more than just caring for the plant. It's that human connection that connects you to all things, if that makes sense. Anyway.
And I think part of it is, so for example, like my grandmother was a master gardener. And even with a master gardener, not 100% of her plants thrived.
Yeah.
And being okay with what's happening and how can I learn
Hmm.
from this experience. But when we make it mean something about us and use it against us, we don't thrive, we don't grow, we don't learn from the experience. So, for example, if I repotted something and it died, then if I go to down the story of I kill plants, here's proof and evidence, I can't nurture it, there's something wrong with me, we'll never repot a plant.
Hmm. Hmm.
But versus, okay, what did I do that I can do differently?
Hmm.
If it's just that sometimes this happens, what can I learn from this?
Hmm.
Or if it's just like, oh, I just did this a little bit too hard. I was a little bit rougher with on the plant as already potted. I can do something different about it next time. And I love because that comes back to the whole life experience.
Hmm.
If we have this patterning, this programming from our upbringing and from culture and from society that we have internalized, that becomes our program. And we're spending so much time not living and enjoying our life, but really using life against us because not 100% of our plants are going to survive. Not 100% of our plants are going to survive. I mean, animals are going to survive. Not 100% of our friendships, relationships, dating, business, clients, everything. Not 100% of them are going to thrive, but if we're constantly using it against us, we create all this external heaviness.
Well, I think so much of life teaches us to avoid death and avoid failure. So it's hard for us when that's the culture telling us all the time to take that. But to your point too, like when I look up things on YouTube or Google, it's not it doesn't have the story of learning behind it. Like sometimes that's what gets passed on. Like, oh, I know this because my grandma told me her story.
The
I
curated
mean,
version is what we get from YouTube and stuff.
yeah.
So
We get
curated.
Yeah, we get like black and white, like this is what you do. Again, it's and there is your own experience too, but I think that's something that's inherently taught. When grandma tells you a story of how she learned, you learned from her and you learn that learning's part of the process. You know what I mean? So, um, okay, so in honor of respecting time, by the way, I just want to put this out here as people are listening. One of the things that time taught me for respect is time taught me how much I matter. That's why I love time so much, and that's why I respect it so much. One of my basic moments with time was when I was sleeping, and you know how it is. The alarm goes off, you got to get going on your day, get a hustle and get those things done. And I just wanted to lay there. You know, that really cozy part that's half dreaming and half awake. So beautiful, right? And I was like, oh, I got to get up. And time was like, I said, but I just want to lay here. And I don't usually listen to myself talk about what I want. And time said, what you want is important. And I was like, what? So like I can use my time to rest and do nothing? Like it just blew my mind away. So I have a very, 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 very adoring relationship with time. So, couple of questions I ask all of my clients. How did you find your voice?
Trial and error.
Trial.
Um, I'm still finding my voice. I'm just gonna say, there are places where I have patterns where I had muted my voice, and so over time, I'm still finding those little nicks and crannies where my voices was muted, and I'm still finding my voice, and I can't wait until it's like, yeah, I'm still finding my voice. It's happening.
Nice. I love
My latest one was so profound because I found where it was beneficial for me to feel safe by being quiet. Oh, it's beneficial for me to feel safe by not saying what I wanted to say because then I would go against the grain. And it would attract criticism. And so now creating safety, if somebody criticizes what I have to say, has just increased my voice. So
Yeah. There's
I'm
some,
my first client.
ooh. So there's something I think about what I've come into knowing lately, which I think is really fun, is that in the need to feel heard or find my voice, I felt like my throat chakra was out of balance and speaking more and maybe attracting criticism and things, but in stepping into my voice, stepping into the power to be quiet too. Not because I'm
Mhm.
silencing myself or muting myself, but by power of choice. Like choosing not to use your voice is powerful also, you know?
Yes, yes.
I love
Because
that example. Yeah.
so, for example, in the past, I would, in the desire to be heard, I wouldn't hear me
Mm,
say that that would trigger somebody's insecurity, and
mhm.
somebody would, from their insecurity, would criticize.
Yeah.
Versus now I'm hearing my voice. I know what I need to say, but then also knowing that this person doesn't have the capacity or the bandwidth to hear what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and it's just going to cause more pain. So just be quiet. It's okay. If they're supposed to learn, they'll learn. If
Mm,
they're ready, they'll
yes.
come ask for it. And it's like if I'm supposed to be part of their journey, they'll come. And so just even that trust and just it's like, okay, it's so much more because even just accepting people's capacity and bandwidth and even the capability and not forcing them out of that is
Mm,
so loving, loving to me and loving to them.
yeah. So such discernment we're able to use with that wisdom of the freedom to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So what maybe we just talked about it, but I was going to say, what joy did you find in discovering your voice, the parts you have so far, and I know you're still moving deeper into it, but
So if that's so crazy, because if you had asked me that um, 2 months ago before I went on my vacation, I think my answer would have been very different.
mm,
But lately, as you know, I had an issue with I had cancer and then I recovered from it. Um, and part of the biggest part is finding my voice was giving me this experience of just being alive,
nice.
just feeling. I've never felt so alive as I do in
That's so
this.
cool.
And so being alive is back to that discernment of when to speak, when not to speak, how loud to speak, how soft to speak. Because sometimes the most loving thing I can say is just a whisper of, that's not the best thing. Or, you know, maybe we can do something different. Or and other times it is, yeah, screaming from the rooftops or the top of the mountain that there's another way. So just that flexibility of being alive has just been so beautiful. I'm just in a different place right now. And this is what I love about coaching and consistently doing the work. We're consistent and evolving to create more alive experiences. And
Yeah.
that also includes how we use our voice.
That is so cool. Like I have such chills and great imagery of like it almost feels like once you've found your voice, you're seeing how it's everywhere and it makes your whole life sort of alive. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. So what is magical about yourself and that you embrace about your life? Magical about yourself and your life that you embrace on the regular?
Um, so part of it is just that even the thing that drove brought me to coaching and the thing that keeps having me grow as a coach and keep having me doing the work of evolving into the best version of myself is that belief that we can have as many different experiences
Mhm.
in our life as we want to.
Mhm.
And that it just brings me back is to just how much more I really love myself, and even in the ways that I didn't even know. And
Mhm.
so, like, and this one's coming to mind, and I'm just going to share it. Like, even finding how, even when I was like overworking, it
Mhm.
was coming from loving myself. And like in your example, all that mental chatter and clutter that was happening was coming from loving yourself so much because it wanted you to feel like you belong.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that love is still there, has always been there. And so just opening up to feeling it in every area. And I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what came up.
No, I think there's no wrong answer. But what I hear is that what's magical is that you have the alchemy to turn hard stuff and things about you into endearment about your past self and your future self and your present self.
Mhm,
That's amazing.
mhm.
That is magical. That's what I
Yes.
got that. That is magical. So how do you love and how do you like to be loved?
So for me, I love me by showing me that I'm willing to do anything for me.
Mhm.
I'm willing to grow and evolve and be uncomfortable and have my own back for me.
Mhm.
I'm willing to take the time to understand me at a deep level because I'm lovable already, and I just want to understand how I I've been wired and how I work and just me. Just, the vision I'm getting is um, people who love, for example, computers and just break the computer apart, just do fascination and just understanding and seeing the inner workings of it. And that's how I just love me.
Loving
Um,
you to pieces. You love to be
yes,
loved to pieces.
yes. And how I love people, I think that's what you asked. Or how do I want to be loved?
How
What
do
was the
you
question?
love and how do you like to be loved? Yeah, how do you love and how do you like to be loved? Which, yeah, I heard definitely how you like to love yourself.
I
So how you like to be loved. Yep. How do you
I
like to?
think in the past I was attached to it being a certain way. And I think now how I want to be loved or how I love to be loved is when people are being really truly being themselves.
Mm,
So I just like with the love languages, if my love language is acts of service and time, but if I'm attaching somebody to who their love language is touch or gifts to loving me the way I love to be loved, it's not fair.
mhm,
So I just want them to be them and just them loving me the way they can, what their capacity is.
mhm,
Because I love me and I love them. So how do they want to show up? Which
mhm.
has changed my relationships dramatically.
I can imagine. So that's another magical piece right there. So, um, what dreams have you realized in your lifetime, and what dreams would you still like to see come to fruition for you?
Oh, wow. Um, I've achieved so much. Because so when I went to life coach school, I wanted to be a life coach. I wanted to be a successful life coach. I wanted to coach my face off, which I did, and which I do on a regular basis. Um, I I wanted to just be happy, and I am at this place where I just feel so happy and content. I wanted to travel. I didn't even realize that one of my dreams was to travel and coach while traveling. And I just came back from a whole month of traveling, went to Amsterdam, Kenya, and um, New Paris, and I got to coach like
Mm,
over the Eiffel Tower, and it just really was such a great experience. Um, what I want to accomplish is I want to be able to accomplish even coaching at a larger scale. impacting even more individuals' lives so they can feel the ease of life, so they can enjoy the life that they have, so they can be just present with where whatever they decide to do.
Mhm.
And so now my next level is more traveling with a lot more ease, a lot more fun, more community with people where it's just peaceful and fun and enjoyment, where I can just be present, just more lives impacted. Um, it's just, I have a higher level of just that whole experience that I had, that I've had. Just so many more lives changed because my life's expanding.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Um, I do want to say I want to drop a little nugget of a teaser because in all of your working with immigrants and culture and families and generations. Um, you have a very successful daughter, who I hope to have on my future podcast, very successful vegan chef. So I'm excited to have that opportunity too. And I know that if I recall if I can share this, you've got a little something with pearls of wisdom. So are there any last minute pearls of wisdom you want to offer?
The one that's coming to mind is just the loving you is how you just your unique way of being loved. So we love ourselves in our own unique way, and just choosing how that love is for ourselves is the most loving thing we can do. Or just finding just a deeper understanding of you so you know how you can love you authentically, uniquely, amazingly.
And I will add and share how much that has really helped in the coaching that we've done over these 5 years and having my full circle moment because when you helped me realize that idea, going back full circle here, that wow, I'm not single by choice. I'm single because I believe I'm not lovable. Like I believe it's not possible for someone to love me. All of a sudden, the reason I ended up going down this, path and dating and the way I've done it is because it was never my idea, it was never my wish to find a partner. It was my wish to not live in a world where I don't believe I'm loved. And now I do. I live in a world where I believe I'm loved, and I believe I'm loved passionately, madly, deeply, adoringly. And if I get a partner who shows up loving me the same way, that's awesome. If not, I'm not missing anything. I really am not. So that's a testament to being on the journey with you, Ruth, and all the love that's grown in there. So thank you so much for you and your time today, for being
Pleasure. Thank you
here.
so much.
I'm honored that you have come on this show, and I hope you find some more people to enrich in their lives that comes of this.
It would be.
That's what my gift is, connections. So hopefully I've connected you with some future people. So,
Yes.
all right, my friend, love you lots.
Love you too.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye bye.